What's up, fight fans? Mainman Mademan here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. What up to the fam? What up to everyone in Mainman Mademan's boxing form? So look, man, the thing is this. We have a really good heavyweight fight card coming up on January the 23rd, happening in Saudi Arabia, fight fans. And one of those premier fights on that card is going to be my main man, Deontay Wilder, returning back to the ring to face Joseph Parker, man. Very, very interesting matchup right here. Power punching right hand of Deontay Wilder versus the boxing IQ of a Joseph Parker. Now, Joseph Parker, man, is a name that's hung around the top of the welterweight division for roughly about the last 8 years. We know he's a former heavyweight champion by winning a vacant WBO strap against Andy Ruiz. A very, very close fight, and perhaps the biggest win of Joseph Parker's career. And Joseph Parker has shared the ring with the basically top names of the heavyweight division in the last few years. The only ones he's probably hasn't been in there with maybe is, I'd say, Deontay Wilder, which he's currently doing now, and maybe Tyson Fury. But outside of that, man, Joseph has been in there with everyone, man, and he's pretty much been game in all of his fights. We know that him and Deontay Wilder was supposed to maybe got together sometime years ago when there was some talks behind the scenes between him and Deontay Wilder, and maybe even a verbal agreement given that they would fight. However, those fights never came to fruition, fight fans. However, and that brings us to today's time, where of this heavyweight era, of this heavyweight class, these are two heavyweights who have yet to clash. So I'm very intrigued by this matchup. Deontay Wilder has extreme respect for Joseph Parker. Listening to him in recent interviews, he's not saying any bad words about Joseph Parker. He's still a little bit upset of what happened years ago, but it seems like Deontay Wilder is beyond it and past it. And that's how you got to be in today's time, fight fans. You don't want to hold on to nothing from the past. Deontay Wilder wants to approach this fight with a fresh mind, a clean mind, and want to go in there and deal with Joseph Parker on his own merits. This is going to be a real risky fight for Deontay Wilder. And we know that beyond this fight, at least most boxing fans are hoping that Deontay Wilder is going to eventually settle the long sitting score with Anthony Joshua. So we'll see who's going to be also fighting on the same card, man. So we will see. So let's talk a little bit about Joseph Parker. He's been around the block, fight fans. He's been in there with a lot of the top heavyweight names. We know he suffered defeats to fighters like Dillian White, which was a very, very good fight and a very, very close fight as well. And Joseph Parker showed a lot of heart in that fight by being knocked down and then turning around and almost stopping Dillian White in the very end. But Dillian White made it to that final bell. Also taking losses to Joe Joyce and taking losses to Anthony Joshua. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, he's game in all of his fights for the most part. And he is a handful for any of these dudes. Joseph Parker, man, has always been a heavyweight whom I've always looked at his size first and foremost. I've always seen him as more so a puffed up cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that he had that game-changing power to really affect a lot of heavyweights. Like, it takes a lot of work for Joseph Parker to really hurt a lot of guys, and especially due to the type of style that he likes to use. The thing about Joseph Parker is that some fights he'll come in big, some fights he'll come in small. It's like either way it goes. And I don't know, maybe in some fights when he's came in bigger, he was hoping to be more of a powerful puncher. However, I haven't seen that translate too much. Just seen him as a more of a puffed up cruiserweight. And I honestly think that Joseph Parker should fight more to his speed advantages as opposed to try to gain more power. Joseph Parker stating for this fight, at least in the press conference, he stated that he'll be working on his movement and speed for this upcoming fight for Deontay Wilder. And that's something he'll be leaning on a lot heavy. So I'm expecting a more slimmer version of Joseph Parker to show up for this particular fight. Joseph Parker likes to buzz around more so on the outside, fight fans, working behind more so a measuring jab and not a setup jab, not a thudding jab, fight fans. So he's just more so looking to touch you from the outside. And then as he's buzzing around on the outside, if he's touching you consistently with the jab, and he'll pump it 2 or 3 times in some instances, after which he'll take chances from the outside. He'll start lunging shots from the outside or either lunging 1-2s from the outside. And normally he'll ride those punches more so towards the inside. And once he gets there, that's normally the problem for Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker normally has to cover a lot of real estate due to his reach, normally being shorter than a lot of the top name heavyweights that he's fought. So he has to cover more real estate, and covering that real estate, sometimes he takes shots, but most his most vulnerability is when he's kind of get back to the outside. And when he's normally trying to get back to the outside, moving straight back in some cases, is when he normally gets touched. He'll deliver his shots, whether he's successful or whether he's unsuccessful in delivering his punches. He always tends to be vulnerable, though, with punches coming back at him. And that's his biggest issue. And that's going to be a major issue with him facing Deontay Wilder. Another thing has been Joseph Parker's gas tank. That's something that has not been a sure thing over the years. There's been plenty of fights where Joseph Parker would start off very, very strong, only to end them very, very pretty much tired. A lot of that normally comes because, like I said, his weight is normally out of flux and it fluctuates. So 1 minute he's small, the next minute he's a bit bigger. But when he comes in a bit bigger, he definitely gets tired a lot faster. Joseph Parker normally slows down after about 5 or 6 rounds. And it makes it worse for him because given that he has to get back to the outside in most of his cases, he'll start to move a lot more slower in the second half of fights, which once again starts to let punches pile up on Joseph Parker. I've now seen Joseph Parker lose in 2 fashions. Against a high activity fighter such as like a Joe Joyce or maybe a Dillian White, where the activity started to overwhelm Joseph Parker. And then I've seen him in there with patient fighters, but strong fighters like Anthony Joshua, where he had a problem with getting around the power. So between those 2 avenues, I think that Deontay Wilder can definitely take advantage of either side. And it's going to be interesting. However, Joseph Parker is known to have good hand speed. His foot speed is about average, but his hand speed amongst most heavyweights is more so superior. He can string together combinations if need be. I've seen Joseph Parker throw together 3s, in some instances 4s. And he has the ability to do that. But that's normally against fighters or sluggers that's going to sit there and want to, press the action and force exchanges with Joseph Parker. Now, if you're a taller, longer guy and you have a lot of power, such as when he fought Anthony Joshua, this keeps Joseph Parker buzzing around on the outside more often than not, even though he's the shorter guy. He would rather stay out of harm's reach of the power punches, but he is willing to definitely trade with the brawlers. And in most cases, Joseph Parker's power, like I said, is not next level for a heavyweight, so he's not really hurting a lot of dudes, you know what I'm saying? But he does have good hand speed, and he average foot speed, to me at best, but he can move his feet very, very well. And, he likes to lead hard to the body from time to time from the outside. He'll flick his jab upstairs and downstairs, trying to mix it up. But he's always buzzing around on the outside and looking to explode. Last but not least, fight fans, I think that Joseph Parker normally fights to whatever level of competition is in front of him. He's never always looking to excel or go above and beyond. He's either trying to fight at that level or below. You know what I'm saying? And he always lets his opponents dictate the pace of a fight, which I always thought that's bad versus Joseph Parker. And so Joseph Parker's an interesting fighter. Once again, I don't think he has next level heavyweight power, good hand speed, likes to stay on the outside, but very vulnerable once he goes to the inside and has to get back outside. And we'll see how Deontay Wilder deals with that. Let's talk about Deontay Wilder. As for Deontay Wilder, fight fans, the thing is that in his last fight with Robert Helinius, we've seen some new additions to Deontay Wilder, even though that fight was a bit short. Deontay Wilder looked like he was a little bit more fluid in that fight. And one of the things that him and his new trainer, Malik Scott, has been working on is making looking like it looks as if that Deontay Wilder is less stiff and relying a bit more on his legs. You know what I'm saying? And he looked like he wanted to move a lot. He was flicking his jab upstairs and downstairs versus Robert Helinius, kind of swirling around him, trying to get the right angle on his shots. And that was something that was kind of new, working his jab a bit more in a more fluid fashion. And that was something more new for Deontay Wilder. Listening to Deontay Wilder in recent interviews, he stated that, hey man, since even though he hasn't fought in over a year, he's still been in the gym. He says that he's had about 2 or 3 training camps since his last fight, given that fights were, on again, off again, say between him and Andy Ruiz. So he's saying he's been training this whole time. So he's been keeping himself, occupied and also hopefully building on some of the things that him and Malik Scott has been working on. And it's going to be interesting to see if he uses those things in this fight. In my opinion, fight fans, Deontay Wilder just has to be traditional Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. Because Deontay Wilder, like say versus Luis Ortiz, showed extreme patience in that fight, even when being down on the scorecards. Deontay Wilder fights very, very well when he's constantly looking for that shot, looking for the openings, flicking his jab, using his range, and just in trying to throw a bit of head movement in there to stay out of the way of incoming shots. He's normally a very, very good fighter when he fights in that fashion, and he carries his stamina and power late into a fight. I think that's all it would take versus Joseph Parker, in my opinion. Deontay Wilder is going to have to be patient as Joseph Parker looks to measure and makes his way. If he takes his opportunities to come to the inside, you have a right hand right there to either clip him between punches or clip him on the way out. But a jab and a patient right hand will be very, very key, and as well as range and distance for Deontay Wilder. Do I think that Deontay Wilder is going to have to run around the ring, cutting the ring off, trying to find Joseph Parker? No, because I don't think that Joseph Parker's feet is that fast. Now, some folks may say, hey, Deontay Wilder should go in there on a high activity, maybe even some of a high volume style. I don't think that does Deontay Wilder any favors. Honestly, the biggest fear for me for Deontay Wilder is him gassing out and not being able to catch up, fight fans. And I don't want that. I want Deontay Wilder to set the pace, which Joseph Parker will allow him to do. Take his time and look for the right shots. The power of Deontay Wilder will keep Joseph Parker honest, in my opinion. I think he should fight a patient fight. Think about it. Even, when he fought Tyson Fury in that first fight, he was very patient in that fight, and there was even some boos from the crowd. But however, he was able to drop Tyson Fury 2 times in that fight, and even once in the final round, which means that he took his stamina and power all the way through that fight, mainly because Deontay Wilder fought that fight at a very comfortable pace. And I would like to see something similar to that versus Joseph Parker. I get it. Joseph Parker gasses out. However, I do think that Joseph Parker will be moving more and trying to stay away from the power of Deontay Wilder. I would rather for his stamina to be depleted in that fashion, as opposed to Deontay Wilder just running around hunting him down. Just scoop, if Joe Joyce's feet were fast enough to keep up with Joseph Parker, don't tell me that Deontay Wilder's can't. And I think that Deontay Wilder is going to be able to keep up with him. Even though Deontay Wilder's been known to have a wide stance, which definitely slows his feet down, I think that's one of the things that him and Malik Scott has been working on, him being more fluid and moving a bit more better. And so if he just kicked the foot speed up just a little bit more, I think that'll be more than enough for him to keep up with Joseph Parker, to cut the ring off, but also keeping that range good enough so he can get full extension on that right hand to deliver the shot. I don't think that Joseph Parker is going to take too many chances, and he will respect the right hand of Deontay Wilder. And so it's going to make Deontay Wilder have a much more easier day, in my opinion. But Deontay Wilder's number one thing is to be patient, capitalize off of Joseph Parker's mistakes. When Joseph Parker lunges, when Joseph Parker's shots is not having no impact and he's stuck on the inside and got to get back out, that's when Deontay Wilder should be able to take advantage of and use the right hand once again and mix up his shots as well. And I believe Deontay Wilder execute these things, he should be successful, fight fans. Man, all in all, man, I'm leaning towards my main man Bomb Squad for the win in this one right here. I think that my man is motivated, he's eager to prove, and most importantly, he knows what lies on the other side of that door, and that is Anthony Joshua. That is, if Anthony Joshua is successful versus Otto Wilder. But either way, man, I'm leaning stylistically definitely towards Deontay Wilder. He hasn't had much wear and tear on him, even though Joseph Parker is definitely coming off his last 2 performances, looking pretty decent, even though they were lower tier heavyweights. But, Joseph Parker's been looking pretty decent. I mean, he's put on size in his last couple fights, it looked like, but it still looks like more of a puffed up cruiserweight as opposed to a much bigger heavyweight. And maybe Joseph Parker thought that size would be the answer. I think that Joseph Parker should rely more on his speedy skill set. And he should be looking to come in lean and slim and looking to move, use his hand speed, and more so box and fight towards that advantage and not try to get in there and pretend to be a power puncher and mix it up more so and take a lot of too many opportunities and risk on the inside. I think he should stick and move and stick to his speed and try to use that to his advantage as much as possible. And Deontay Wilder, use your patience and as well as the ability to land that shot at the proper time, but stay patient through this fight. You feel me? Don't overexert yourself. Go at your pace, because Joseph Parker will allow you to set the pace. You do these things, bro, and y'all think that Deontay Wilder should be successful. And a matter of fact, I'm leaning towards a stoppage, fight fans. But we'll see as we get a little bit closer. Very, very interesting fight. Huge repercussions for Deontay Wilder as well as Joseph Parker, because this could arguably be the last opportunity or big shot or opportunity at a big name for Joseph Parker. And if he doesn't make the best out of this opportunity, it's pretty much a wrap. Real spill. Thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Share, rock the bells. Catch up with y'all in the next live stream, man. To the next video. Peace out.